Good afternoon. Just testing my sound. I'm just testing on my phone to see if it works. Okay. Give me a second. Let me just make sure my sound works. Yeah. Just testing my sound. Right. My sound is good. Hello, everyone. It's been a while, hasn't it? And I'm back again. I don't really stop looking at the markets even when I'm not streaming, but I've been taking a bit of a period of time where I'm trying to protect my energy. And what people don't realize is streaming takes a lot of energy. It really does. And you can burn out when you're streaming. You can burn out when you're doing anything if you keep on doing it a lot without taking respite, without taking rest periods to consolidate and bring it all back to yourself. So, but I haven't been absent. I'm always here. I'm going to be looking today at Bitcoin TRVL from TRVL and QANX. It's always important. It's really important to put everything and frame everything in the context of Bitcoin. Really important when it comes to crypto. So everything it is determined on how Bitcoin is performing, and it's less about the price of Bitcoin. It's more about the sentiment. It's more about the market, how it feels, you know, the emotions. So yeah, the last time I did a stream, let me go back to it. When was it? 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago. And let me quickly have a look. I'll put it on mute. Actually, I'll go to what I usually do is I separate the videos into sections, and I have a Bitcoin one here. There it is. So let me have a look at it. Oh, that was ETH BTC. Okay, I went through the whole analysis. What did I say? Without listening. Okay, here, this is the key one. Okay, I was talking about losing this or reclaiming this. This was the level of importance. It was the previous pivot high, and if you lose it, you go down. If you hold it, you go up. And very, very important structurally. And if we go down, then we're looking for much, back into the golden pocket. This was 3 weeks ago. And whether we're continuing in this channel or whether something else is happening. And obviously I looked at the order flow as well. And going back to Bitcoin and what happened. So 3 weeks ago, we were kind of here, weren't we? This was 16th of April. Let me have a look at the date here, 18th of April. So 18th of April, See that? That's where we were on this kind of the Saturday, that red candle. And effectively what you're looking for is you're looking to hold this pivot. It didn't hold and you had an immediate sell. So when you lose the pivot, people shorted, and that's a very fair trade. When you're losing a pivot like that to short, and traders will, as you lose the pivot, traders will, look, it went down for Bitcoin. It's quite a good number, 2.5%. Traders will take that short, yeah, because it looks like it's losing a pivot. And that's what happened. They lost the pivot. As it came back up, retraced, they shorted. And so it's a scalp really, but you know, with these pivot, when you lose a pivot and you scalp, you take your profit immediately. So you have a risk-free trade, and then you're in a risk-free trade because you've taken your profit. Because when Bitcoin moves 2%, whatever, 2%, you will take your profit on Bitcoin. And then you don't have to worry about what happens next because that's your successful trade. And sometimes if that was a pivot high and it was looking to go down, then that scalp effectively becomes a really amazing trade. It becomes a really profitable trade. But that's not what happened. You lost the pivot and you're reclaiming the pivot. You see that? So you can see how the pivot was reclaimed on this candle, can't you? Look at that. Bam. And even kind of, if you look at slightly higher time frame, the daily time frame, it's not precise, is it? But it's thereabouts. You can see how it's reclaiming. So you kind of have a little loss, a little reclaim on the daily time frame, little reversal, and then traders will go long with a very easy invalidation, because now you're going long and you take your profit, and then you have a risk-free trade. So traders are having fun. With these kind of pivot losses and pivot reclaims. And naturally, you know, when you're going long on a reclaim, again, it doesn't really matter where you go long, the price goes up quite a lot, 6-7%. So traders are having a lot of fun. Yeah, even after the perfect back test here. See that perfect back test? Even if you went long late, it still goes up a lot, 2, 3, 4%. So for most traders, will take their profit, they will convert that trade into a risk-free trade. And the way to do that is by taking enough profit in the first instance so that if you get stopped out, you're still making money, you still win. Yeah, so the profit, the initial profit, takes into consideration the value lost if you get stopped out. And so effectively you win whatever happens. You can't be greedy when you trade like that. You just have to take your profit and look for the next trade. But obviously when you're trading like this, you can get stopped out a lot. It's very, you know, obviously if you went long down here, you'd still be in a long, but you would have taken profit many times on the way, because no one knows what's going to happen next. It's just a balance of probabilities. So we're kind of in the same situation, I think. We're holding market structure here. The market structure is bullish. We're putting in higher highs and higher lows, and we haven't lost a key level, which at the moment is that back test. It's that SR flip. We haven't lost it, have we? And when I kind of check the volume, let me just get rid of these brush strokes now. When I check the volume on this kind of area of interest, you can see that the price is kind of consolidating outside the value area. It looks like here the price has failed. See that? Price has failed to close back into the value area. That was another indicator of support being held. So in a sense, the value area here is holding the price as support. Yeah. That changes if the price starts to kind of close back into the value area. It starts to lose that key SR flip. It doesn't mean it becomes bearish. It just means that there's not enough liquidity to go higher. It's going down further to search for liquidity, because naturally people who want to take longer term positions, they want to buy lower, don't they? But there's a lot of support now built in this structure. It's really important to know, and obviously the more support is lower down. So let me have a look at these levels. See, that's a daily level back test. You see that there? So that held as support. You have another daily level there. You have another daily level there. You've got these key levels which can offer support. That's basically it. And without going into too much detail, I'm not going to spend much time on Bitcoin. I think it's important that if we want to see continuation on this move, I think it's important that we kind of hold this area here. Yeah. In the current context, that would be back at the 382. Fib retrace, kind of where the SR flip was before, holding the value area as support, not finding acceptance back into the value area. And naturally, who knows, it could just hold here. No one really knows what's going to happen. And yeah, I think what you're looking for shorting are signs of weakness, and I don't really see it right now. When I kind of go on to the order flow on EXO charts, although right now we're seeing some bearish divergence. Right now you can see that we're getting some crazy bearish divergence in this exact moment. But earlier on, when I was looking at it, I was seeing some really strong bullish divergences. Yeah. You can see that because you're putting in higher lows and the CVD is going down and down and down. The CVD is putting in low lows, but there's been a little change in the last hour. We still have bullish divergences across this local range, because you can see clearly that that low hasn't been taken. Has it been taken yet? Oh, it has. Oh well, so much for that. And so it was looking really bullish, and now we've just had this sudden drop, and now we're getting a little bit of bearishness in the last hour. Yeah, so that's been a significant change. Does that mean this is going to go down today? Yeah, I mean, we've lost the daily open, we've lost the VWAP, so we could be looking at a red day today. And with this kind of drop, we're seeing some bearish divergences, but obviously you wouldn't be shorting or selling at a previous day low, because it's already moved, hasn't it? It's already kind of moved. And ultimately, you'll be looking for the retrace if you're looking to sell. The other thing you can do is we can have a look at this kind of volume outside of the value area. Probably from here when it comes back in. And at the moment, it's just kind of slightly range bound in this local value area. So it could be a little liquidity sweep, pick up liquidity and it could just be range bound here. All right, so just because it's looking a little bit bearish today doesn't necessarily mean this is going to crash down. I don't think so. Not right now. Right now it's gone all the way back to this weekly level. You see that? So you have a weekly level there, this red green. And then we have a weekly level all the way down there as well. So we have a lot of support, and traders really want to come in at the golden pocket. Like the bigger kind of more significant players want to come into the golden pocket. It all depends. Like if Bitcoin can consolidate here and hold the value area as support, or not lose this little value area that it's forming now, then we could be looking for consolidation for continuation. And if we start losing, coming back into this value area, then naturally we'll be looking at the golden pocket. It doesn't mean it's going to go up. It just means the whole thing is range bound on kind of some massive range. Yeah. And it could be bottoming here, but that structure could take a longer period. It could take months. Yeah. And you'll be surprised. Like, we could be here for months, couldn't we? It's possible. Or we could find support in the next couple of weeks and continue up, continue going up. I tend to think that, and it's kind of my own theory, usually when the price, let me just delete this fib trace and these fixed ranges so it's clean. When these candles, you see that you've got this big red weekly candle here. Yeah. When you have a candle like this green candle from last week that closes into a previous candle like that, usually what happens is a probability the price will end up going up to fill that candle. Usually that's what happens. Yeah. And so whether it happens today, next week, or whenever, I think the chances of at the very least filling, it doesn't mean we're going to close, but filling all the way up, there's a higher probability of that. And you can kind of use that in multiple time frames. Yeah. So obviously all eyes will be on the monthly candle and how that closes, but just kind of breaking it down. Like here you see in the 3-day candle we've closed. I kind of think that we're probably looking to go up, but I mean it's hard to say that when the price is today looking bearish all of a sudden and it's pulling back. So just going back to what I originally said, I think it's important that we hold this, whatever this is, some kind of neckline. Yeah, I think that's important. I think you kind of don't want to lose whatever this is either. I'm just roughly drawing it, some kind of trend line, if I can. And it would be nice, however this forms, with lower highs, to consolidate and continue. See some bullish, once it gets into the right places, see some bullish divergence. That means bigger players are looking to absorb the price and absorb the selling, and then you get another squeeze up, because now people are looking at this saying, oh, this is quite bearish, isn't it? Because it feels like we're losing this pivot. You get short center, short, and if you can get absorption at the right place and hold this structure, not lose that neckline, then you can get a short squeeze which can take it, which can make it fly, because there isn't really much liquidity here in this kind of space, in this kind of gap. There's not much liquidity there, and so if the price does manage to go back up, it'll go up quite fast, and you'll be in this little range here again. Yeah, usually the way it works also, and so let me just kind of do the value area here. So we have this kind of previous value area. The strongest resistance here will probably be at the top of the range, point of control and the value area high, somewhere around there. 92.5, 93,000. So if we do kind of, if we are able to find support here and spring and squeeze up, then it'll go up quite fast and then we'll kind of be stuck here again, right? And the way it works, in case you didn't know, so it's unlikely, anything's possible, but it's unlikely the price is just going to go down like that. And partly because the price has spent a significant amount of time already here. And it's also spent a little bit of time here. Yeah. So time is important. So when you have the price spending some time in a place, if the price really comes into this area and wants to go down, it kind of has to get stuck here for the similar amount of time. And then if it does go down, it's not just going to go down. It will similarly have to spend some time here as well. Yeah. Before it wants to go down. It doesn't just go down. Yeah. If the price has spent some time here, it has to spend at least 50% of the time before it continues. Yeah. It's kind of like a probability thing. And that's why I'm kind of inclined to think that the probability we can hold that support neckline is up, because there isn't really much liquidity here. We just need a squeeze to take us up. But then we're kind of into the idea is that because we spent a period of time here, again, it's not just going to go straight up, is it? That doesn't make sense either. You'll end up in a higher range. You'll end up there. And it will consolidate there before it decides what to do next. Yeah. You see? So usually where the price has been before for a period of time, I'll give you an example. So the price spent a period of time here, and as the price was coming down, it didn't just go down, did it? It kind of spent similar amount of time, slightly above that area, but it was kind of in that area, wasn't it? You see that? It took about the same, roughly the same amount of time before it can fall down further. And if you look back in our history, you'll see, look how long the price was here. So whatever happens, the price isn't just going to go down and down and down and down. It doesn't do that. It'll probably, if the price wants to go down, whatever happens, it'll probably spend a similar amount of time in this area first. It'll kind of match it. It'll kind of balance out before it decides what to do next. Yeah. So it doesn't have to, you know, because if you get a rejection, like if this continues up, then you're rejecting from this area, aren't you? And that's really bullish. But it could kind of, you could do this neckline, you could fall back into this range, and then the probability is that it will kind of head towards the bottom of this range, fill, spend a bit more time here, and then actually no one knows what's going to happen next, because if it goes down, then look at what you got. You got the price moved quite fast, quite quickly, from 31 all the way up to 49. So if we do end up here and we lose support, then you're probably heading all the way down there really quickly. Similar, in a very similar fashion that we went up, we'll probably go down quite quickly as well. So there's lots of things to consider in the way the price moves. You've got to just look at the price in a higher time frame and see how it moves. And trust yourself. Don't doubt yourself. So just going back to what I said, I think if we can hold this little neckline here, we are looking for like a breakout and a neckline test. Sometimes when you get these neckline tests, it tests a couple of times, one might not be enough, because in order to go up, we need a squeeze. That's usually how we break up, with a short squeeze. And kind of, you've got this neckline break, don't you? See that? That's a really important outer trend line that's been broken. It's been broken. We've put in a higher high. And ideally what we want is a higher low here and continuation. Then we should probably go up quite quickly. And people were calling this a really nice breakout. A lot of people will get trapped because they'll long the highs. But at least we've broken out of this outer trend line. And probably then we'll be consolidating here for a while before the low is put in, wherever it's put in. And we could possibly, it's always a balance of probabilities, continue and aim for all-time highs. I'd like to think that if we are able to hold this neckline support and go up and then consolidate here in similar period of time, I like to think that we will have the potential of kind of bottoming around here. This whole thing becomes a deviation from the range. If this whole thing is a range, this little bit becomes a failed auction. This is kind of getting back into the range, consolidate back into the range, hold support, and then we're looking for all-time highs. And that's actually quite bullish to be able to do that. There's a lot of things I've been looking on crypto, Twitter or X, call it whatever you want. And we have conflicting ideas, don't we? We have conflicting ideas. I have to go to my bookmarks because I bookmarked them. Oop. It's my book. Oh, there we are. My bookmarks. So this is a bear market post. Crypto is now perfectly following a bear market cycle channel. History is repeating itself. Everything going according to his plan. And he's calling for much lower, 15k bottom in November. He's saying 72k in days, 41k by June. Again, it's always a balance of probabilities. Everything is possible. He's saying this is a bear flag. It could be. Yeah. If we lose that neckline, and it really starts to look like a bear flag. So that neckline that I mentioned is very important. Yeah. It could also just be a double bottom and a failed auction of this overall higher range. So it could be two things. It doesn't have to be. And people are looking for a very nice, easy to trade pattern like that. But as everyone knows, Bitcoin likes to surprise us. It doesn't always have to happen that way. And then this one here, look, alt season index. So this is something else. This guy's calling for a massive alt season. If that happens, then we're looking at a massive Bitcoin breakout, and it's a breakout with strength, because that's what would be required for this to happen. And he's suggesting that we're basically, altcoins are bottoming now, and it's a good time to pick up altcoins. He's saying the crowd is about to make the same mistake again. And naturally, when you're looking at altcoins, the best time to pick it up is when altcoins, no one cares about them or everyone hates them. And we're kind of in that situation right now for many reasons. This guy's talking about a massive cup and handle. Yeah. And this is really bullish if it's a, what's that pattern called? A megaphone or whatever it's called. Megaphone, yeah. It's a massive cup and handle, megaphone. It become really bullish if you reclaim the top part of the megaphone. Then it becomes really like, you'll start seeing the price pump, 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 pump. So you see, you have conflicting things. This guy is talking about altcoins again. Yeah. This guy is really bullish. He's saying all-time high dump, triangle breakout, 104,000 day rally. Let's see what he says next. So he reckons that this is we're gonna have another 104,000 day rally. I think there's conflicting views, yeah, and ultimately, whatever you're doing with crypto, you have to have a long-term view. You can't, like, you don't, if you're not trading it properly, don't trade. If you're not managing your risk, don't trade. But if you're accumulating, then you have to have an accumulation strategy on disposable income, on a weekly, daily, whatever basis. Always buy the same amount on the same time period, and don't look at the price, and just have a long-term conviction belief in the future of crypto, and don't deviate from what you think or what you believe. You know, don't deviate. The minute you start doubting yourself is when you start doing panic things, and then that's when you make the biggest losses. So I'm inclined to think that if we can get back above this neckline, hold this neckline. For me right now, it looks like a failed auction. Let me just get rid of these brush strokes again. I'll keep that trend line. Right now, it looks like this, yeah. Some kind of failed auction of, maybe better if I do a channel, horizontal channel like this. Thereabouts. And if you can imagine this whole thing being a range, this whole top part being one big massive range, with an outer trend line here, which I've marked out. At this current moment, it's looking like this whole thing is a failed auction, and the price is trying to get back into this overall range, yeah. And then this price action becomes deviation from the range. You've got higher lows here, and obviously the key would be to holding neckline as support, this kind of area here, holding that neckline as support. If we can do that, then the probability is we're heading to the midpoint of that range. Probability is we'll go all the way up to, do we put in a lower high here, or do we take out that pivot? No one knows, but kind of like I said, you'll start to get resistance around 92.5. And if there's a lot of momentum or a bigger squeeze, then it could even take out that pivot. And there's a nice SR flip there. That SR flip would coincide with, yeah, you see that's that midpoint, and that pivot coincides with the golden pocket. So that would be a big target for traders, and it would be an easy entry if you had a swing failure. It'd look really bullish, but that would be a really big entry for shorts. And as always, shorts would not be looking to go all the way down to zero. Shorts would be looking to take it to the first significant support level, wherever that is, depending on how the price moves. But that's really the area of interest for shorting, if the price is able to squeeze up. And then it all depends on what happens next, or what happens in this little area here. If we do kind of hold the bottom of this range, if it is a failed auction, and this whole thing was a deviation, then we're coming to a really good opportunity to buy the continuation. And it doesn't matter, like, it doesn't matter because you missed, all right, we missed 59k. But if the price finds support here, then you're still buying at the bottom of a pre-existing range after a failed auction. So it's actually quite a good place to buy, because even though an initial target would be the golden pocket and that pivot, in the long term, it is possible. I mean, it could just fill here for a while. If it wants to go up, it could go up and put in new all-time highs. Yeah, so usually when you kind of reclaim a range, the price is now trying to get right back up to the top. That's what it's trying to do. It's trying to go up to capture liquidity. So we have to see what happens. It's like anything can happen. Well, today it's looking a little bit bearish. It wasn't earlier, but this recent sell-off changed things a little bit. But ideally, you should be looking at the higher time frame. And I'd also be interested to see how the weekly closes as well, because that could make a that could be significant as well. Because if you have the weekly candle, lots of ifs, huh? If you have the weekly candle, this red one, if it closes underneath this weekly level here, it's going to look really bearish on the weekly time frame, and then you'll get pressure to the downside, and then that's when you have to see if support wants to hold or not. Yeah, it's all about seeing if support holds. If support holds, it holds, then you can long. Yeah, if you see that support is holding, you can long. So we have to see. Probably the next 2 weeks are going to be really important. Something else I want to look at is really important. This is also really important, and I've been talking about this a lot historically in my streams. It's ETH BTC. And I'm not going to go through the whole analysis now, because I don't want a super long Bitcoin stream, but after we had this breakout, this pivot put in April last year, 25, the price rallied, and I've said this many times, it's synonymous to potentially to this pivot here. From this rally here, see that? I was kind of trying to make comparisons. It didn't go exactly as I imagined, but then I was looking at where would be the best place to enter after that initial rally, because we were expecting a rally we were expecting something like this. We were expecting a little bit of a breakout rally when the price was here like this in April last year. We were expecting something like a rally. And it's really hard to trade that, because you'll miss it. It happens so fast. And after the first red week, people aren't sure, does the price continue going down? Like, no one really knows. And then after the price goes up again, you get one more week of up. Sorry, this is monthly time frame. One more month of up, and then it's finished. And so a lot of people come in too late, and then they hold. They're thinking this is going to go to the moon, and they're back at square one, and then they hold too long, and then they start selling because now they're losing. But when you look at it historically, contextually, the best time to enter was the golden pocket. You see that? Let me go to the weekly time frame. You're basically putting a pivot here. You're going up, going up. I mean, could it be this lower pivot? Yeah, possibly. Could be that low. It doesn't really matter because they both hit the golden pocket. And the best time to enter was the golden pocket. Yeah, this took many weeks to go up, many weeks to come down. See that? And that was December 2020. And I've shown this comparison before. If I go to here, if I go to ETH on the right screen, and you can kind of line them up. Look, this back test here, look where ETH is on the right side. It's at $510. Yeah, the low was here. It was really low. It's like $103, $33. But the back test, ETH was breaking out at 510, and then ETH went from 510 here. You see, from there, ETH just went up and up and up, didn't it? So if I kind of line it up perfectly, look, you see that? Monday, December the 21st of December 2020 is here. It just went up. Didn't go down, it just went up, all the way up to, peaked at $3,700. It was 680 or so % increase in value, but the key was that it just went up. Yeah, so you kind of missed all the uncertainty, and the price just kept on going. That was the beginning of the crazy alt season. So I was just kind of thinking to myself, what are we seeing now? Let me just kind of expand this. This is the ETH chart on the right. On the left, it's the ETH Bitcoin chart. So if we get a back, so you see now it's falling down potentially to this golden pocket area. I've marked that out. If we get a really nice back test there, that would be a really good place for altcoins, wouldn't it? Based on the historically, based on what I showed you before here. And well before the price is only going up, we have to see where ETH lands here. Yeah, it's slightly different, whereas before ETH was just going up and up and up, wasn't it? That was like your best, that was like your last chance entry before a mega pump. But I think that would be a good place for altcoins to find support, and I don't think it's just going to go straight through like this. I think it's unlikely. Just simply, like I said before and earlier in the stream, whatever happens, look, it took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks to break out, and so it's unlikely for the price to just fall down like that. Whatever happens, if it doesn't bounce, it'll probably be here for another same period of time at the very least. And maybe if it finds support here, that would be a good place for altcoins to find support and go long. And then hopefully we should see a breakout, and that should coincide. They should all coincide with each other. That would be similar to this. But this is really bullish, because you had a really strong buying tail, and then you had a bullish engulfing candle. Yeah. So you can't just look at one thing, you have to kind of combine them with other things. And there was like many indicators here. It was a perfect back test of the golden pocket with a bullish engulfing, and that was a strong indicator that ETH alt season was on the cards. I think you want to see something very similar. You want to see like more confirmation. We don't know how this is going to play out yet. Let me have a look at it on the monthly time frame. Even on the monthly time frame, you had this kind of crazy bullish engulfing. Yeah, you had the first green month, back test, and then 3 months up. Yeah. we could be in a very similar situation where we've gone up like this, and now we're just coming back for a golden pocket back test on ETH BTC there. So let's see what happens. Everything could change, and nothing is financial advice here. So it's just food for thought. The price can always go up, down, or do nothing. No one knows. So it's always a balance of probabilities. All right, that's my kind of Bitcoin stream. If you like this stream, a little like would be appreciated. Thank you. On my YouTube channel, or on X, if you feel like it, you can like it, share it, and if not, just subscribe on my YouTube channel. That's much appreciated. All right, what I'm going to do now is start looking at something else. Give me a second. Hey, Defidge, how's it going? I didn't see that you're there. I don't know why my overlays aren't working either. Let me see if I can figure that out. Active. Maybe it's working now. Good afternoon. Is that working? No. Oh yeah, it is. It was off. All right, so that's kind of my Bitcoin update. And what do I know and want to look at now? Probably, yeah. I'm going to look at TRVL now that you're here, Defidge. No one else is here. Although there was a Gearhead Bandit, but I don't know where he's gone. Let me look at... Hold on. TRVL. Right. That's what you're here for. TRVL, where are you? There you are. Interesting. Oh yeah, whatever. Oh, got another viewer. Yeah. We kind of... So, what is up? What is up, TRVL? Shall I go to the other screen? Yes. How's that? Or do you want to look at the charts? No, let's not look at the charts. What is up? TRVL family. Thank you, Defidge. Thank you, everyone, for jumping in live with me. I'm excited to be here. I'm always excited, as you know. And not just because I'm always excited, but I think that we have some seriously exciting developments coming down the pipeline for the detravel TRVL ecosystem. And if you're new here, I'm just going to introduce myself. My name is Amir. I was born and raised in the UK, in London. I'm a citizen of the world. I'm obsessed with travel and snowboarding. And I will kind of go to the other screen. Hold on. Where is it? What, did I lose the screen? No, there. Yeah. Yeah. I've been a super host on Airbnb for over 10 years with nearly 200 5-star reviews, hosting here, right here in London. So this is me. just a little bit about me, who I am. I own my properties here in London, and I'm always a phone call away from my guests. So I know a little bit about the Airbnb business. I was in it before everyone else, and I'm still in it, even though everyone is leaving. It's all good. I'm also a former trustee of a local charity, where we were helping elderly people in London. I recently stood down, but I was a trustee member for 4 years. And on the tech side, I'm deeply involved in DTravel, which is a Web3 project that's building direct holiday accommodation using blockchain and smart contracts, which is exactly why I'm so passionate about TRVL and DTravel. And speaking of what we've already built, DTravel has launched a decentralized peer-to-peer booking platform that lets travelers and hosts connect directly, completely avoiding those massive centralized fees, as you see on Airbnb and booking.com. And if you want, you can check it out on the DTravel website. That's dtravel.com. And if you click here for travelers, it will take you to, where is it? There it is. It'll take you to this page. It's like a web app, but it's also an app on the base app as well. And here, just like Airbnb or booking.com, you can search for properties to rent. Like this is Brazil. And when you click on a listing that you're interested in, it will take you to their direct booking website, hosted by DTravel. And you can search the calendar. You can have a look at the pictures. You can search the calendar. Give it a second to load. I hope my internet is okay. Here it is. Oh, translate. Nope. See, you can check availability. Etc. And then you can book directly. So that's ready. It's live and it's ready for you, for us, for all of us. It's ready. And for the latest network stats, what you can do is you can head over to DTravel's live Dune analytics dashboard. And I'm going to show you that now. It's here. This is the link. dune.com/DTravel_team/DTravel-network-analytics. Okay. And right now we're seeing some impressive momentum. We have over 11,400 operator signups, listings in 1,395 cities across 146 countries, with a total of 5,488 active listings. The cumulative GMV is $1.71 million and an average booking value of $829. So I think we've done a good job, huh? Like, I don't think that's bad. Yeah, that's for a peer-to-peer startup. I think that's a massive achievement. If you've been holding through the ups and downs like me, then I think today's update hopefully will feel like a little bit of a breath of fresh air, and we're entering a new chapter. Eric laid this out clearly, and in his update he talked about ownership, identity, and continuity. And earlier last year in his powerful message, A New Chapter for DTravel, he posted about rebuilding travel around people. If you missed that, then you can go to DTravel blog, dtravel.com/blog, and you can read what the CEO Eric Pace wrote. He explains what's broken, what we're building, how the incentives can align. He talks about TRVL, talks about the why it matters, and he talks about what's next. Okay. One of the things that we're really excited about is some fresh leadership and governance changes happening behind the scenes. And these adjustments are all about a stronger separation of roles, better decision making, and presenting TRVL in the most professional and trustworthy way possible. It's a big step forward that's going to help us move faster and communicate even more clearly with you, with us, with all of us as a community that we're growing and building. And so a lot of people look at the community and I think, where has it gone? It hasn't gone anywhere, but now what we're going to do is we're going to reconsolidate and grow. That's what we're doing. So it's been quiet lately, but that changes hopefully now. Yeah. So the team are rolling out, or they're going to roll out, weekly Twitter Spaces and weekly Telegram Q&As. That's coming within the next 2 weeks, hopefully. And this will be a perpetual thing. It'll be weekly. It'll be a weekly Twitter Space, a weekly Telegram. It'll be on the TRVL page, and the Telegram will just like before, but it will just be a regular thing. And even if there's nothing to talk about, at least it will be a forum or a community square where anyone who wants can ask questions and get their questions answered. And if their questions aren't answered, then at least it will give the team food for thought to come back. So that's part of what's going to happen really soon. And hopefully people can get answers, real answers in real time. This is about rebuilding the vibe. It's about rebuilding the vibe. It's about answering questions. And it's about getting everyone, or helping people to get aligned with what's coming. The energy is shifting. And right now behind the scenes, it's starting to feel, when I talk to Eric, when I talk to Andrea and everyone else, not every day, but it's starting to feel very electric. And a lot of people like myself, we've been waiting for this moment. There's a major new initiative in the works that's coming very soon, and it's designed specifically to lock up a significant portion of the token supply and to create real scarcity and stability. Yeah. So there was a Q&A that Eric had about ideas for what to do with TRVL, and he's been listening. The team have been listening, and going forward, what TRVL are looking at doing is trying to take out 50% of the circulating TRVL, take it out of circulation, and create real incentive for all of those people who are long-term hodlers. And so this is something that hasn't really happened in the past, and it's something that's going to be addressed with everything else that's coming. It's going to hopefully deliver meaningful rewards to our most committed long-term hodlers, and that's going to coincide with some kind of updates on the website and other pages that need updating as well. So there's a lot happening, and we're basically, TRVL are here for the people who believed in TRVL and TRVL. I think that's the most important thing you have to kind of take on board. TRVL is not about to let anyone down. Like, if you've kind of held on and seen your investments diminish, TRVL isn't just going to walk away. And there are many ways that it could happen. And, you know, like other crypto projects, you look at them and you think, could TRVL do that? Yeah, of course, it's always possible. Yeah, but TRVL isn't going to do that. Eric is not going to do that. I'm certainly not. Sense that. And as long as I'm participant, That's never going to happen. It's not, we're not looking to create that environment where people who have held out and trusted us and believed in us. When I say us, I'm considering myself as part of TRVL, even though I never have been officially. We're never going to let you down. Yeah, that's not going to happen. So, and this isn't like some sort of short-term gimmick. What we're looking at is a strategic and thoughtful and built to reward loyalty while strengthening the entire ecosystem. So if you're a dedicated hodler, you're going to want to pay very close attention when the details drop, and hopefully that's going to be happening very soon, hopefully. So let's talk about the big picture that Eric broke down so powerfully in his announcement. TRVL is evolving into a trust token, the structural capital that powers trust between strangers in travel. And so I don't know if you saw that blog post, let me see if I can find it. It was a Telegraph. That's it. This is the link. I'm not going to read it out, but there it is, if you can see it. And he posted that January 9th this year. The future of D-Travel, ownership, identity, and continuity. And here he talks about TRVL, the new direction that shifts TRVL towards structural capital that helps power trust between strangers. Reputation becomes longitudinal, building over time. And he talks about building a community of trusted travelers who can be incentivized, where D-Travel can incentivize contributions to verify the network and manage risk. And so going back to what that means, TRVL effectively becomes the backbone of the membership and status model. And he talks about not fighting, like there's no more fighting the wrong war. And I think it's been hard for a lot of people because they looked at what D-Travel was building, D-Travel Direct, and they seeing this kind of big market Airbnb, this other big market Booking.com, VRBO. And it should naturally be easy for us to kind of take slices out of that market. Yeah. And we haven't had an easy, even though we've done quite well, it hasn't been easy. And so there's no more fighting the wrong war. I think what D-Travel are trying to do, will be doing, is going back to first principles. How does D-Travel actually win in an $11 trillion travel market? And Eric lays it out perfectly in his blog post. He says the answer is traveler continuity, the biggest unsolved problem out there. And so we're going after the biggest unsolved problem, where TRVL becomes the backbone of a membership and status model, where your reputation becomes longitudinal and it builds over time. It's user-owned, cross-platform, and long-lived. He talks about Strava for travel, where travelers will own their own journey, their own patterns, and their own identity. Where TRVL incentivize real contributions, verifying the network, managing risk, creating genuine trust in a space where strangers book stays with each other every single day. And what this does is this shift aligns TRVL directly with long-term network growth. As the ecosystem expands, TRVL isn't just transactional anymore, it's structural. That creates real sustainable scarcity and demand. Long-term hodlers will win big here, and your commitment, my commitment, compounds as network value grows. TRVL becomes essential infrastructure that hosts travelers, and other travel tools and even AI systems will depend on. So when interchangeable, if D-Travel succeeds and we are all in on making 2026 the year, we stop just being another booking site. We become that access layer sitting on top of the entire travel market. And that's the kind of utility and value creation that changes everything for hodlers. This trust token vision empowers everything that DTravel are building, including the upcoming Saga app. So if you've been following DTravel, you'll know that Eric has been focused on this new app, this new traveler app. It's called Saga, labeled Saga, which is when it's launched, will be a clean, non-crypto travel experience made for real people. And TRVL as the trust layer makes the whole ecosystem safer and more useful, with seamless deposits, verified hosts, and a secure experience that solves real travel friction. To put that into perspective, I want to show you Blackbird, which is a blockchain-based payment and loyalty app for restaurants that just raised $50 million in fresh funding, with only 1,000 restaurants on board. They're already creating a powerful network effect and on-chain ownership for both users and operators. So now imagine that same model powered by TRVL as the trust token, but in a $11 trillion global travel market. This is the utility play that we've all wanted. TRVL finally powering something people will use every single day, while the token itself captures the value of that explosive growth. I'm going to show you that right now. See this? This was posted on April the 8th, 2025. And here, look, see that Blackbird gobbles up $50 million for its blockchain-based payment loyalty app for restaurants. And here's the article. And what you can see is that there is a lot of money out there for this kind of stuff, for these kind of apps. Yeah, you can see that. And it's very interesting. It's very interesting. So we're not, I think we're on the right track. Yeah. Like if you see what's happening, what's really happening, I think we're on the right track. Yeah. Anyway, there's the article. I'm not going to read it, but it's quite interesting. What's coming next? None of this happens in silence. We have, when I say we, DTravel has a full marketing campaign lined up to reintroduce TRVL to the world and to drive fresh demand. And so I think what we can expect is more content, more visibility, and more reasons to be proud to hold TRVL. This is the beginning of something much bigger, much bigger. TRVL is going nowhere. TRVL is not going anywhere. And DTravel are just getting started on the next leg up. Eric's vision of ownership, identity, and continuity, building on everything that he shared in his new chapter post last year, is now the roadmap. And the trust token, TRVL, is at the center of it all. So I hope you've managed to be with me for this long. Action steps that I've kind of made a list. Turn on the notifications for the DTravel Twitter Spaces and Telegram. Yeah. And get ready for the upcoming initiative that will reward long-term hodlers, and the details are going to come very soon. Bring your questions. DTravel wants to hear from you, and spread the word. The more believers we have, the stronger we get. Okay, so I think it's so important that if we are talking about a trust token, that we now get people to trust DTravel. Yeah. And that starts with honesty, clarity, clear, consistent communication. And it starts now. It begins now. Yeah. It doesn't matter if the questions are hard. We can talk about the past if you want, but you don't have to. We don't have to talk about the past. We can change everything now. We can start this take this new chapter, this next chapter, and we can build on Eric's vision. And I think, I personally think we're onto something really big. So thank you everyone for tuning into my stream. Thank you for supporting D-Travel and TRVL. I think I believe the best days for TRVL are ahead of us. And if you have questions, you can always ask me on my YouTube video or in chat. You can message me. I prefer the YouTube video or on X. And yeah, that is TRVL and D-Travel. So that was like a little update I prepared. And so one thing I'm going to be doing or not doing so much in the future at all is looking at the charts. So I think what I want to do going ahead with TRVL is not look at the charts, because what we're creating, or what D-Travel will be creating, you won't need to look at the charts. You'll be looking at the number of app users on Saga and the activity there. That would be more interesting, wouldn't it? The growth of the application and the onboarding of all these new travelers that will be coming to Saga when it launches. But I'll kind of briefly, just for nostalgia, I will look at the charts. The biggest problem with any crypto, and I think this is what I really wanted to say about crypto in general, this has got nothing to do with TRVL. Yeah, this is just crypto as a whole. I think crypto has failed, completely failed. Bitcoin obviously hasn't failed, but I think what you have to kind of think about when it comes to, say, something like Bitcoin is that if BlackRock and Michael Saylor tomorrow started selling at once, you're going to get a red candle going all the way down there. There just isn't enough liquidity in crypto as a whole. Yeah, it just doesn't exist. Yeah, all these big hodlers. That the reason why Bitcoin keeps on going up is because of the hodlers, of people buying and never selling. And so, and with the network effect and the growth of the network, the price goes up. And for people like you and me who aren't bringing massive amounts of liquidity, yeah, you can buy and sell and the price doesn't move. But if you suddenly started getting the big institutional players selling, for whatever reasons that we can't explain, reasons that we don't know, you'll start seeing the price crash, wouldn't you? There just isn't enough liquidity in any of crypto. And I think that is a big problem across all of crypto. And so a lot of times people are looking at all the altcoins. When you look at all the altcoins, look, they've all collapsed, all of them. Or they haven't passed their previous highs by a significant amount. They're all looking pretty miserable, aren't they? Whatever. It doesn't matter how much analysis you do, does it? They all collapsed. They didn't make new all-time high. Maybe ETH put in a new all-time high and it dropped, but they all went down, huh? This isn't when you're looking at it, the context is the whole crypto market has a problem. There isn't enough liquidity, and ultimately there's no trust. Yeah, there's no trust. No one trusts crypto anymore. look at Polkadot. Remember in the last market it was trading at $50. Look at it now, $1.3. There's no liquidity. There's no trust. There's not enough interest. Like, look at all of these tokens. You thought you'd never be able to buy INJ back when it was $11. You think, wow, $11 is cheap, and look at it now. It's at 4.8. It dropped down to 2.7. Even the really bullish ones dropped. Even the really, really bullish ones, the ones which were looking good. Look, all these Look at that. It couldn't even hold. It just, look, they all dropped. I don't really see any altcoins that were strong. Actually, they're all rubbish. Yeah. And so what I'm getting at, look, even Ava, look at Ava. What's that? Do I have another chart on Ava? I think there was another chart. Yeah, they all dropped, didn't they? All of them kind of. Now, the ones which rallied, they rallied hard in the bullish part of the Bitcoin expansive move to the upside, yeah? But there was only a few. There wasn't many. But when you look at all the... Look at SHIB. It's back down at September 21 levels. See that? Didn't put a new all-time high, and it looks like it wants to go down even further, doesn't it? So I think when you look at it, crypto is... Look at the slurf. Crypto has failed as a whole, hasn't it? That's what I'm feeling. That's what I'm getting at. Yeah. There's no more trust in crypto. It's almost like the 2021 bull market was synonymous to the dot-com boom of the year 2000, and now we're kind of in that kind of midwinter stage where no one trusts crypto anymore. All the scams, all the meme coins, Trump and whatever he was doing in America, people have lost confidence. And so I think when I'm looking at TRVL and D-Travel in the future, yeah, just because this token dropped doesn't necessarily mean that it's a failure, because all of crypto failed. Yeah, so we kind of rode that down train with the rest of crypto. Part of the failure, you could kind of attribute it to the lack of foresight or the inability to raise capital for D-Travel to hold the price, to buy back. Yeah, you could argue that. We can make different arguments about how the price could have been held higher, and those things didn't happen. There was a leadership transition, etc., etc. So we can talk about that. Whatever, doesn't matter. That's the past. But going forward, trust is key, isn't it? When it comes to crypto, trust is key. And so whatever crypto wins in the future, it has to be built on trust. It has to be built on confidence, on rebuilding trust. And it isn't about rebuilding trust in crypto, because no one trusts crypto. What we have to do is build trust in what we're doing, in our platform, in our ideas, in our community. And once people trust us, they will trust the token. Yeah, and the token and the project, D-Travel and Saga, will be interlinked, will be kind of overlapping like that. Yeah, that's what needs to happen, and that's what is going to happen. So we're not like, I almost think you have to kind of ignore the rest of crypto and just think the whole of crypto has failed. And now it's about innovating something which will succeed, and that is to bring trust back to not crypto, because I'm not bothered about crypto, because most people, they buy tokens, they don't know what to do with it, and it's mostly speculative. They just have some just in case it becomes a Dogecoin or something like that and it goes up 10,000. Most people are like that, aren't they? And then the traders, they're only interested in the high liquidity coins, the big ones, ETH and Bitcoin, effectively, those two. And they're not interested in anything else. And then you have those small moments of time where you have crazy alt seasons, very small periods of time, 4 weeks, and then you have everyone jumping on the bandwagon. But obviously the traders who trade, they're in and out, and then everyone else gets burned. And that's basically crypto for you. But what we need to do, what we are going to do, what D-Travel is going to do, is going to build trust now. It's going to innovate trust. It's going to, and we're going to tackle that market that Eric pointed out, the traveler market, which also needs trust. He talks about it. So I think we're at a really kind of when I look at the charts, I mean, again, almost forget about the charts, but it's actually a really good place to accumulate. The reason why I say that is because I know there's a lot of things coming, a lot of announcements coming, which is going to, like I said before, it's going to take TRVL out of circulation. The app is being developed. It's been delays, but that's because DTravel wants to deliver a banging app, an amazing app, not just like half baked. Yeah. And the vision is trust. It's to bring trust, not to crypto, but the trust relationship between travelers, operators, hosts, and then interlinking that with crypto. Yeah. TRVL. Making TRVL a trust token, which powers this environment or economy, we'll call it what you want. It's at a really good place for accumulation because a small amount of USD value can, like at these prices, $1,000 will get you 1 million tokens. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of tokens. And so as things start to move, it's at a really good place for people to accumulate right now. And as you can see, like, forget about analysis, but you can see that the volume over this overall period, going back 4 years, you can see that now most of the volume has been at these prices. And I think that is a good sign. It's a good sign because it shows you that there's still interest, isn't it? We haven't gone down and there's no volume. There's volume, there's buying and selling. You can see we've had the most volume roughly about these prices, haven't we? How much has the volume been? Can't really tell. Can we put numbers on this? Values. Can I see the values? I need a better color. I don't know how to see the values. Anyway, but you can see there's been a lot of volume here. If I kind of go on a higher time frame, if you see that most of the volume is kind of slightly, roughly at this price, and over the last 3 months, last 9 months, 6.4 billion, 5.6 billion, in the last 3 months, 3.2 billion. But you see, most of the price is being exchanged at this level, at 0.001. Yeah. So we're talking about a lot of value in terms of TRVL being exchanged at these prices. So you can see that there's accumulation going on here. This is a 3-monthly time frame candle. You can't really tell much because the month is still, we're still 1.5 months away from the end of this candle. Yeah, I like to look at candles, but I think a lot has got to do with Bitcoin, but also a lot has got to do with what happens next with DTravel. So DTravel are about to launch some initiatives, and we start to recreate trust in the community, recreate trust in the vision, to bring back trust, and a new kind of energy to the token to help people to understand why. And I think this is going to be innovative because there's a lot of crypto. No one trusts crypto. Yeah. So it's almost like no one even trusts Bitcoin. Let's be honest. Yeah. And if Eric and DTravel are able to pull this off, then you're not just going to have a trust token. You're also going to have a store of value token, because that's effectively what he's talking about in this blog post, isn't it? I go back to it. Structural capital. See that? He's talking about store of value. And it'll be better than, in so many ways, it'll be better than Bitcoin because it'll be on a layer 2. So we're not, detravel won't be tied to ETH. At any point in time, if ETH fails, they can just pivot to another layer 1 without having to issue tokens or without people having to do anything. And effectively, it's a chain agnostic token, because whereas with Bitcoin, you need to be on the Bitcoin layer 1 Bitcoin network. When you have something like this, an idea like this, you can have TRVL on any chain, yeah, and that will be secured by what detravel are building now, which is the Traveler app, and connecting that with the detravel direct, which is this. And as the travelers come and then connect it to this, and then connecting that, overlaying that with TRVL, yeah, that's what's coming. That's kind of the vision. And I think things are about to get really exciting for everyone who's involved. There's a lot more coming, yeah, there's a lot more information coming. I think just forget about the charts. And that's kind of why I'm going to be kind of not looking at TRVL charts really, and not focusing on that, but more focusing on the project, the app, the Saga app, and helping people to understand the why behind TRVL and how it interconnects with detravel direct and the Saga app. And I think once people understand the fundamentals of the real world application and the use case and how this could transform travel, and that detravel aren't letting down their long-term holders. Detravel are leading with that, and they're not just trying to create a trust token, but they're also saying we're not gonna let you down. You know, like all those people held out, we're not gonna let you down, and prove that in any initiatives that they are launching. Then I think the sentiment will change very quickly. All right, so that's kind of my detravel TRVL update. So yeah, and actually I did want to show you one thing yeah, which I like to look at. This is the only thing I really like to look at, to be honest with you, when I look at TRVL. It's these time pivots that I've always been talking about. Yeah, everyone who's been following me knows what I'm saying, what I'm on about. I'll go to the weekly time frame, yeah. And I'm looking at the MEXC chart because that's where the initial launch was the cleanest. And that's what I want to show you. And I've showed people this before. I'll show you again. If you use the first week as so it's this fib time that I've been using, yeah. I'll delete it and I'll show you. It's this tool here, fib time. And if you use the first week launch as your starting point, you go to the first pivot low, which was December the 26th, the week of December 26, 22, and you go to the first pivot high. Yeah, that creates some Fibonacci time fractals, doesn't it? And interestingly enough, the 618 landed perfectly at this pivot. It's called October, wasn't it? It was a new all-time low, but it was a perfect alignment, wasn't it? And the price there went up for 450%, 400%. And interesting enough, the 1-to-1, it was a week early, but it doesn't matter. The 1-to-1 here, see, that was a pivot there. The 1-to-1 gave us a pivot here. This 1-to-1 618, it was very messy, wasn't it? But it gave us a pivot there. The 1-to-2, it gave us a pivot. We lost that pivot, but it gave us a pivot. And the 1-to-2 618, we lost it, but it also kind of gave us this kind of little pivot, which we're now kind of underneath there, aren't we? Let's kind of where we are. So we have the 1 to 3 coming up on the week of the 25th of May. And usually there's like a move, a big move in these kind of zones. Usually when the price is going down like this, it's a pivot to go up. Yeah. And like this, see that? When the price is going down, there's a pivot to go up. I can't say how far up. Yeah, no one really knows. And usually when the price is kind of going up into a pivot, it turns and goes down like that. It's just about probability. So usually when the price is going down, you put in a pivot, you go up. When the price is going up, put in a pivot, you go down, etc. So here it went up and then kind of lost it, but it went up, didn't it? And this is quite weak. I think there's a reason behind the price action here, and everyone knows who's involved in TRVL. This was the Bybit delisting, wasn't it? So it was a very difficult time for all of crypto, and Bybit were aggressively delisting ultra small market cap tokens. Even though our volume was really good, they were just going after the under 5 mil market cap tokens, and we suffered. Otherwise, if we didn't get that delisting, you'd be looking at something else. But it does give people who have been faithful an opportunity to accumulate more TRVL at cheaper prices. And the key takeaway here is that we're coming into another major time pivot, 25th of May 2026, and then the 31618, the next one after that is January 27. Yeah, I can't predict the future. I have no idea what's going to happen. None of this is financial advice, but I do feel that that would be quite a significant moment in terms of what we're seeing. And the other thing I wanted to show you, this is quite interesting. I like to see these things. I like to look at different things on a higher time frame when it comes to TRVL, just because any other kind of analysis doesn't really work. But you see here, we're getting these kind of, on this this indicator that I have, this RSI divergence indicator, we got these kind of bull flags here, bull. Now it's not 100%, is it? But it happened here, happened here, and look, the price exploded. Again, it happened here, price still went down, but then it went up, and we got that here. This is kind of the first time in a while we've got that little bit of bullish divergence on the weekly time frame. You can't go by that. No one really knows. Yeah, it's because on the monthly time frame you can see you've got these kind of bullish flags and the price has still gone down, and that is more about a liquidity problem than anything else. It's a liquidity problem, and it's also the rest of crypto or Bitcoin topping out, rather than this token truly being valued at the current price. I think the price of this token is ridiculously undervalued. Yeah, so it's, in a sense, it's a massive opportunity, but then the project has to change, and that's what's happening. The project is changing. There's a massive pivot that's happening behind the scenes. Everyone knows about it, and I'm just here talking about it. So who knows? Like, no one can, like, who knows? No one can predict the future, but it's interesting. It's interesting to see that that's flagged. You see on the 3-day time frame, when you're looking at the 3-day time frame on this RSI indicator, when it flagged bull, it was here, it went sideways and then dropped, so it's not always 100%. And then here, when it flagged bull here, it was good. Here, when it flagged bear, it was good. And here it's flagging bull. Yeah, so there's a little bit of bullish divergence on this RSI indicator on kind of like the slightly higher time frames. So that's quite interesting. But again, at the end of the day, you can't use that unless there's a big shift happening with the project and the D-Travel shows real commitment to the community, which they are doing, they're in the process of doing, and if they're working on something which has the potential to shake the market, which it has, which is Saga and turning TRVL into a trust token. So these are like synchronicities that we're all exploring and talking about right now, right? I hope that helps. Yeah, otherwise the price is really good. It's not going to take many people to buy and hodl for everything to change with the chart. But it isn't just about the price. I think people have to understand crypto is not just about price, it's also about liquidity. So one of the things that D-Travel wants to do or going to do is look at ways of increasing the liquidity, and that has to do with what they're talking about with the Saga app and solving that deposit problem that exists between travelers and hosts, increasing liquidity. And then when you get people buying and hodling as well, you combine those two, and then not only do you cause the price to correct to the upside back to where it should be, but also now you have liquidity, so that if people do want to cash out, want to sell and buy some, the price can hold, basically. Right, so that's kind of all I really wanted to say. Yeah, right, any questions? Nothing. I'm going to move on. Thanks for joining me. Okay, so David Naran, welcome. Thoughts on the QANX future? Give me a second, let me just blow my nose. Perfect. Yes, QANX. Let's go have a look at QANX. Actually, someone asked me on my YouTube about QANX yesterday. Let me see if I can find it. Update, yeah. This is my previous video. Oh, it's dark in the background, huh? It's much brighter now. Update, that was 16 hours ago. No, I'm doing it right now. It's got something to look forward to. What did I say 3 weeks ago with QANX? Does anyone remember? Bear market reality check. Whoops. Yikes. I said there's a 2-cent rejection, so that's a natural SR flip. I said we're on this kind of down channel, perfect back test. The volume was low. We need to break that trend line. I remember that. Why no one cares about QANX? Oops, I don't know. It's just some personal thoughts. Long-term strategy, dollar cost average. Oh shit, I said all the way down to there. Who knows? This is not the bottom yet. Remember I said that? This is not the bottom yet. Shit. I think I was right. Yeah, I was right. Sorry. Honestly, no one cares about my videos. No one's looking at my videos and trading them. Yeah, this is just entertainment value only. It's like fun, isn't it? Yes, and I already said in the previous video that I've sold all my QANX a while back because it started losing support, didn't it? And I did sell. Yeah, I did sell. I have a mind to buy back, but I want to see something. Maybe I want to see this out of trend line break. I could be wrong, you know, like they could launch the live. It could go up to the moon tomorrow. Yeah, whatever. If that happens, it happens. Let's just have a look at this chart again quickly for everyone. One thing that I think the most important thing is not to have fear. Yeah, fear is a real problem in crypto. People they're so bullish on QANX, they'll keep on accumulating when it looks bearish, because they're afraid that tomorrow the mainnet's going to launch, the price is going to be at $20, and that's it. They've been right for 4 years, and that moment they sold, it went up, and they lost their lifetime pension or whatever, because they just didn't have the conviction to hodl. You can't be afraid like that, because that just in the same way that when the price goes up and you buy, that's FOMO, that's fear too, the fear of missing out. When the price is crashing, you're not willing to sell, that's also fear, the fear that you're going to miss out. Again, it's FOMO, but in the opposite direction, because you're afraid that they're going to announce the mainnet, and then, you know, but fear is really bad. You mustn't have fear. Yeah, the way to offset fear is to have a strategy and stick to it. Execute your strategy religiously. Yeah, don't be emotional about it. Have a strategy, have a long-term strategy, and execute. Right? Some people might buy weekly red, a little bit on every weekly red candle, and they're just accumulating on the higher time frame. They're going to hold QANX for 10 years. Some people are looking at specific candle structures, like a reversal candles or bullish engulfing or something. You know, you have to have a strategy. It has to be consistent. You have to stick to it. That's really the most important thing in anything that you're doing when it comes to buying and selling in the markets. And no one is right. There's always a chance that everyone is wrong. Yeah. But that's why you have a strategy, because it offsets the risk and it prevents fear, and also prevents greed, because you also have you have an accumulation strategy, you have a distribution strategy, right? You need to have both. Otherwise, you're going to be trapped. You're going to be trapped with something that, because no one knows the future, you could be trapped with something that could end up at zero. Yeah. It's possible, and then it's a gamble. Just treat it like a gamble, and if it's a gamble, don't even think about it. Come back 2 years time and see what happens. Yeah, if the horse wins, you win your money, and if it doesn't, you've lost. And that's how, and you don't get emotional about that. But not financial advice, but it's just common sense, really, isn't it? It's just common sense. What can I say? I mean, Bitcoin, the bear market, QANX, I think, is doing quite well considering so many other tokens. Yeah, when you look at a lot of other tokens, I haven't updated this in a while, but let's go to some random ones. No, look at that. A lot of tokens collapsed, didn't they? If you look at a lot of these tokens, they all collapsed. Yeah. So I think QANX is doing quite well. Look at WorldCoin. Look at that. Isn't it? It looks like it's doing quite well comparatively. So in the context of crypto, it's actually been quite strong, hasn't it? Yeah. When you're comparing, look at DOT. These other shit tokens. Gary, Gala. And this is just evident of the lack of trust in crypto. Like, crypto has failed, hasn't it? There's so many meme coins, so many scams. Trump and family, they've trashed crypto, haven't they? And so right now people are just going for flavor of the month tokens. They're not interested in projects that have real world use. And if they are interested in projects that have real world use, they're suffering, because especially projects like QANX, because they haven't actually launched their final product into the main market yet. So I think it's still looking quite strong comparatively. And the minute you lose these pivots, which is what I was saying, lower highs, you had a really clean back test there, it's going down. And here we've just this week we've put in a new low, haven't we? Right, so we need this to bottom out, and it doesn't look like it's bottoming right now, not just yet, but everything could change next month or even this month. Like, things could change really fast. The question is, do you buy now, hoping that this is the low? It could be. Who knows? No one knows. That's the point. And you'll get the best price ever. Or do you wait for confirmation? Do you wait for something that's going to give you a signal that the bottom's in, a sign of strength? And you could end up buying it 30-40% more expensive. Yeah, you could end up buying it exactly the same price you sold, but then you've got more data and that can give you more confidence. Or you can have a strategy and just execute a strategy and not even look at the charts or think about what's happening. But that's kind of my little monologue. Apologies. Let me just slightly clean my chart up. I think I actually, with QANX, I think I made a mistake, and oh yeah, here. No. That was my previous one, wasn't it? That didn't play out. Just have a look at this. This is oh, there you go. You're coming into the golden pocket now. Looking at an expanded flat. Let's go back to the other one. This is the one I was using 3 weeks ago. Let me just update these. Let me get rid of that. Get rid of that fib. That trend line is good. For some reason, I had that horizontal ray. I'll keep that for a second. Volume levels. All right, let me just update the volume levels. The daily time frame. The value area low has dropped a little bit. The point control is exactly where it is. Now that we're coming into previous price action of this post-hack correction, I think that the post-hack and pre-hack is irrelevant. When I look at this post-hack and pre-hack that I used to look at, I think it's irrelevant now. I think it's just all one chart, because we've just come into that. We're trading now into underneath there, into this zone here. Yeah, so you just kind of have to look at the whole thing as one chart, because the correction has taken us into an area of price that needed to be filled effectively. So it didn't matter, and I always said it did matter, but now I kind of feel like this is a confirmation. And in that context, the truth is the price could go all the way. It's possible the price could go all the way down and fill this candle, this big green candle. It could happen. Yeah, the price could do that. We don't know what's going to happen, but the price could totally do that if it wants to. Yeah, if we don't start seeing volume all the way down to the bottom, is another 74% decrease in value. Yeah, and then you have a really large gap, and that would be massive support, probably just where that candle begins. You see that big gap? I don't expect the price to just fill that gap. That's kind of the first level of massive support based on these candles. Yeah, when you're looking at other forms of support, you could kind of just do it based on, try to do it based on fibs, Which one do you take? It's hard because you have this hack. We're kind of into, from the beginning of where I said that candle began, we're coming into the golden pocket here now, but you see we bounced perfectly off it. See that? Bounce. And now we're coming back into it. We need time to see if this golden pocket does act as support, but usually what happens is if it wants to act as support, you'll lose it, and then you'll look for the reclaim. The reclaim would be your sign of strength. Yeah, you wouldn't just kind of assume that this is holding now just because you've had one little bounce, a weak bounce. You'd be looking for a loss and then a reclaim, and a better area to start accumulating would be at this value area low, just after you've lost the golden pocket, and then seeing if there's enough strength of buying to reclaim it. Yeah, but who knows? No one really knows what's going to happen, and you kind of need to see some higher time frame candles which show you that the bottom is formed, and right now we're not seeing that, are we? In the monthly time frame, look at this increasing volume, red candles. Look at that increasing volume. It's not good, huh? Decreasing prices, increasing volume. It's not indicative of a bottom, is it? It's showing that people are selling. So I'm not sure why that's happened, because other tokens are looking like they're looking stronger in the current context. If I have a look at something else, my screen is locked. Wow. Hold on. My screen is locked for some reason. There you go. Let's have a look at QANX. I have no idea what's going on. May the 14th, that was yesterday. We aligned our engineering roadmap with the rigorous demands of our upcoming government and enterprise partners. We celebrated full cross-platform availability with the Mac OS release of QANX Link, and made significant strides in SDK maturity across Go, Python, Java, and more. While we quietly build the foundations for these major integrations. The Quan virtual machine will be integrated in a completely seamless way, providing the same. So they haven't done it yet, huh? Because they're talking about this is future tense. Providing the same fictionless experience currently established on the Quan. Yeah, so they're talking future will be. So that needs to happen, huh? The Quan virtual machine. Then it has to be tested as well, you know. So they still have to do things. They still have to test. Deliver the unparalleled features of Quan platform while being able to ship the solution in highly constrained. So the goals are good, huh? But it still looks like they have a lot of work to do. They've only just announced it on the Mac OS. So naturally, that's going to require time to test. Yeah. They're not going to launch until it's been tested, right? It's just been released on macOS. They're going to want to make sure that works well. Ready for review, so it hasn't been reviewed yet. And work in progress, so it's not finished yet. Next steps. This is a proposal document. It's currently being prepared to consult. So they haven't even done a proposal document. So you see what's going on. You can, in the language, you can see what's going on. It's not ready yet. Yeah, unfortunately. So it's good. The communication is good. And what they're doing is probably needed to make this a massive success. But naturally in crypto, people are not patient, but it does create opportunities for people who are long-term, who have take a long-term view to accumulate with a strategy. Yeah. So yeah, so it just looks like they're still kind of building and grinding. They're not really bothered about the price. It's obvious. They probably don't care. They probably have enough financial liquidity to get through the bear market and do whatever they want. They probably do. They have big investors, don't they? So I think they're not interested in the price. They don't really care. They just want to create a platform that succeeds in the real world market, in the business place. That's what they're aiming for. And that's what it looks like. But I mean, none of this is financial advice. Quantum risk is years away. Let's have a look. Let's see what Grok says. I'm going to have to wrap up this. Oh my gosh. I'm going to have to wrap up the stream. I've been streaming for a long time. Right, whatever. I think Bitcoin will become quantum proof very quickly, actually. So I think Bitcoin will probably have a fork. They'll probably deprecate their legacy wallets, and that will be that. So, it'll be, the question is ETH, isn't it? And then the question, then you'll have to see if the layer twos transfer from ETH and go to, say, QANX. And with a big uptake like that, then you can see an explosive growth in QANX. So really, I think QANX is going after ETH, not after Bitcoin per se. But this needs to bottom out, doesn't it? So technically, the chart needs to bottom out, and we're putting in lower lows here. And ideally, what you want to see is some kind of structural market change, which we're not seeing because we're just putting another low today. Otherwise, I've got nothing to say. Like, you're probably looking for lower, aren't you? Probably this value area low is 00918, and then if that doesn't hold, the next fib, that's all you've got to go by now, fibs, isn't it? And if the price wants to aggressively correct and start at this pivot low here, this post-hack pivot low, yeah, you're looking to correct all the way back down to the beginning of this candle. I think I don't want to say it's likely, but why not? We want to see volume at the right place, which we're not seeing. Look, the volume is mildly flat. We want to see like big buying, like real accumulation, and then that will give us a clue that we finally found a good place to start picking up this token. Right, that's all I have to say. I hope you're well, and yeah, I don't know when we're going to do the next update. Maybe just post on my YouTube if you want another update, and then I'll try and do it. Yeah, that's probably the best way. I don't want to kind of be the bearer of bad news on a weekly basis. Yeah, so that's kind of probably safer to just do it when people want an update, right? If you like this video, like it. If you don't like it, still like it. Thanks, I appreciate that, and I'll see you next time. If you haven't checked out my other videos, then I did Bitcoin today, and I did D-Travel TRVL. Watch my D-Travel TRVL video, because there's some big things coming with that one, and I'm kind of involved a little bit, so I can be the bearer of good news, not the bearer of bad news. Right? Have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful weekend, and sending you love and perfect peace as always.